tell me what Operation Lone Star has done. Show me the actual result of what they have done with the literally like tens of billions of dollars, right? Other than pay for overtime for state troopers, right? And buy helicopters and speedboats, what have they actually done? Why would we continue something that does nothing, right? If we really wanted to help border communities, we would invest in border communities, build up their hospital systems, build up their schools, build up the water systems, work on all those things for those communities so they can feel safe and secure. If we have sensible immigration policies that we have asked for from a national level for decades, but nationally, Republicans have blocked those efforts every step of the way because the crisis is what's important. The ability to demagogue on this and use it as a campaign material to drive fear, that's what's more important.
Texas House Minority Leader and Democratic Representative Gene Wu of Houston on the $11 billion and counting border boondoggle known as Operation Lone Star from yesterday's conversation with the Texas Tribune. That full talk is linked in our show notes this morning. It's Wednesday, January 29th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Donald Trump, at his heart and central to his strategy, is a chaos agent, and chaos is exactly the result of the new regime's announcement of a pause on the majority of federal spending. Joshua Fechter at the Texas Tribune says that order's been held up by a federal judge for the moment, but should it go into effect as early as next week, a wide variety of services and millions of Americans, including Texans, are likely to be directly impacted. It's hard to know where to start here. State, city, and county services backed by federal funds all face the sudden halt of their processes. This includes higher education institutions, public transit agencies, groups tasked with serving people in their struggles against homelessness and housing affordability, crime prevention, and much more. Once again, our urban centers, our mostly democratically run cities, are in the crosshairs here. Houston City Controller Chris Hollins worries that a big chunk of H-Town's $6.7 billion budget could disappear, impacting directly Houston's housing and public health departments immediately. San Antonio stands to face a sudden shortfall of $325.5 million out of its $4 billion budget, including money to build housing targeted at low-income families. San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg tweets, quote, "If confusion and chaos were the goal, mission accomplished. These are your tax dollars being withheld from your communities," unquote. At the state level, too, almost $100 billion, a mind-blowing amount of federal money earmarked for state healthcare services, public schools, higher education institutions, and highway spending, are now in question. About 30% of our state's $333 billion in spending over the next 2 years. While just about everybody's freaking out over all of that, which, by the way, the Trump administration is already hemming and hawing and backtracking, Catherine Wilson at the Texas Tribune says Texas Republicans and the U.S. Congress are pushing to codify Trump's ill-conceived knee-jerk executive orders into law, a complete and shameful capitulation to the dear leader by the members of a Congress who are supposed to serve as a check on executive power. Brian Babin of Woodville has reintroduced legislation to end the current system of birthright citizenship, which of course should require a constitutional amendment. Roger Williams of Willow Park introduced legislation to make Trump's Remain in Mexico policy permanent law. No mention here of how Mexico feels about that. Jody Arrington of Lubbock and Chip Roy of Austin have teamed up on a law that would make permanent the U.S.'s recent departure under Trump from the World Health Organization, forbidding future Democratic presidents from rejoining. Texas Republicans are firmly in the grip of the Trump cult, and if the rest of their party in Congress follows, the U.S. legislative branch is firmly in the control of Donald Trump for at least the next 2 years. Meanwhile, Trump was supposed to be working on lowering food prices, right? Allison Ackerman at the Houston Chronicle says Austin Democratic Congressman Greg Casar is among the 20 Democrats who have addressed a letter to our new president wondering what happened to that plan, saying in part, quote, "We write to ask about your administration's plan to lower food prices for American families. Americans in the first days of your new presidency are facing egg shortages amidst an avian flu outbreak and still high prices at the grocery store. During your campaign, you repeatedly promised you would lower food prices immediately if elected president. But during your first week of office, you've instead focused on mass deportations and pardoning January 6th attackers, including those who assaulted Capitol police officers. Your sole action on costs was an executive order that contained only the barest mention of food prices and not a single specific policy to reduce them, unquote. Also, while everybody's distracted, a report from Aaron Vogel at Biomass Magazine says Republican Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne of the Northern Metroplex has introduced a bill that aims to repeal the Section 45Z Clean Fuel Production Credit, which was established by President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act and supports the production of various low-carbon transportation fuels, including sustainable aviation fuel, renewable diesel, ethanol, renewable natural gas, and biodiesel. All apparently too clean and green for Beth Van Duyne. She likes her energy sources nice and dirty. Back in Texas, state-level Republicans are wasting no time on their push to subsidize private schools, often church-connected schools, with your tax dollars via vouchers. KVUE-TV in Austin says late last night the Senate Committee on K-12 Education advanced Senate Bill 2 to establish a voucher program to a full vote in the Senate. The issue's been designated as an emergency action item by Governor Abbott, so this could end up the subject of a full vote in just the next few days. Wrapping again this morning with Texas transplant Elon Musk and his struggles lately to hide his neo-Nazi tendencies. A lot of important people are noticing, including the chairman of the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, who says Musk's recent dalliances with the German far-right political party Alternative for Germany, or AfD, are a blatant insult to the victims of Nazism. As we've talked about, even after that Nazi salute thing, Musk appeared last weekend via video link at an AfD rally during which he implied that Germany should disregard its own history of fascism. Sophie Tano at CNN says Danny Dayan, the chairman of Yad Vashem, Israel's official memorial to the victims of the Holocaust, said on Musk's own Twitter platform, quote, "The remembrance and acknowledgement of the dark past of the country and its people should be central in shaping the German society. Failing to do so is an insult to the victims of Nazism and a clear danger to the democratic future of Germany," unquote. In case you didn't notice, amazingly, the Anti-Defamation League initially sprung to Musk's defense in regard to his obviously deliberate Nazi salute the other day, but were forced to backtrack on that support after Musk started posting Nazi jokes on Twitter in response to the criticism he had earned. ADL may finally be waking up as they responded to Musk's bizarre sense of humor as, quote, "inappropriate and highly offensive jokes that trivialize the Holocaust," unquote. The AfD party is similar to MAGA in its policy goals, but in the context of minimizing the horror that hard-right politics in Germany have unleashed upon the world in the past. And Elon Musk now represents a direct tie between Trump and the leading Nazi apologist organization in Germany. Our funding at Progress Texas is rarely sufficient for us to plan much more than a quarter or two ahead, but the conservative disinformation machine that we oppose has no such obstacle. They're funded by oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups. Our regular everyday listeners form a key component of our funding here at Progress Texas. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor. No amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate like Sharon Gill-Stent, Stephanie Evans, and Michelle Mapes all have lately. Thanks to all of you. While you're at the website, hit our web store for the merch to match your progressive values. Y'all means all Revolution, and our most popular Humans Against Ted Cruz t-shirts are all there, all union printed, and great Valentine's gift ideas as well, all at progresstexas.org. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, January 29th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.